Martin here. It's spring, and my wife and I are getting ready for the spring, summer, and fall camping season. And what we like to do at this time of year is prepare as many of our camping meals in advance as we can so that we can store them in the freezer, and when we want to go camping, they're there at hand. When you prepare camping meals, there's a few things that you want to keep in mind. You want them to be lightweight, of course. You want them to be low in volume so they don't take up your whole pack. You want them to be tasty and be the right portion sizes. And you want to make sure that they will not spoil, either in the bush or while they're sitting in the freezer waiting to be used. When we go camping on an extended trip, say a 10-day trip, my wife and I will bring all of our food for 10 days for 2 adults in a critter-proof, waterproof barrel like this. And when we're done, and when it's full, it won't be too heavy to carry. How do we do this? Well, there's 2 main principles. The first principle is no unnecessary packaging. Don't bring anything in a box or in a bag or in a bottle or a can or nothing like that. Get rid of all of that stuff. That stuff's all got to be packed in and packed out or burned when you're out there. So you don't need any of that. All of your food should be packaged in Ziploc bags in individual meals and portions. And that's what we do. The other principle is dehydration. You can go to a camping store and buy these specialized freeze-dried and dehydrated meals. Sometimes they're very, very good, sometimes not so good. It's very much hit and miss with these. And they're also quite expensive. They are lightweight, but the volume size is not great. They pack a lot of air into them. So what we do is we dehydrate our own foods. For example, this is chili con carne with lentils and rice for 2 adults, and these are 2 good-sized portions. And it's really light, it's low in volume, and it won't spoil. It'll last for weeks and weeks. So that's what we're going to show you in this video. We're going to go into the kitchen. We're going to show you how to use a dehydrator, some Ziploc bags, and prepare your own meals. And it's free.
So I'm just making a spaghetti sauce. There's really no rules about what you can and can't do. I just like to make a spaghetti sauce that I enjoy eating at home, and I make it and I dehydrate it and I bring it into the bush, and it's as good there as it is here. Now if you just want to dehydrate a jar of sauce, that's fine. If you want to make your grandma's special spaghetti sauce and dehydrate that, that's also fine. There's only a couple of rules that you need to follow in order to have it work correctly. You mustn't have too much oil or fat in the meal. You can have a little bit. It will still dehydrate fine if there's a bit of oil or a little bit of animal fat. But you really want to use, if you're going to use meat, use extra lean ground beef. And if you're going to use oil in the sauce, maybe a tablespoon, no more. Other than that, make the sauce you like. Oh, one more thing. You want to make sure that the vegetables are chopped small. You don't want big chunks of tomato or big chunks of mushroom or big chunks of green pepper, because you'll end up having a sauce that doesn't dehydrate at the same rate, and it won't taste as good if it doesn't sort of dehydrate all at the same rate. So try to make the chunks small. So all I'm doing myself is an onion base with some garlic, because that's how I like it. And then I'm going to stir fry up my extra lean ground beef, which I have over here. And then I'm going to put the sauce in, one of the jars of sauce, because I'm not fussy about that. I don't need to make my own. And I'll put a little bit of oregano, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of basil, and then we'll dehydrate it. And then once it's dehydrated, we'll package it. We'll bring it into the bush, and we can bring some Parmesan cheese if you like that. Put it all over some macaroni, or if you want spaghetti, you can have that as well. And it's delicious. It's as good in the bush as it is here. So I'm ready to take this off the stove now. It's been simmering for about an hour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight to let the flavors all meld and commingle. And tomorrow we'll put it on the dehydrator. I could put it on the dehydrator now, but it's getting late and I like to be able to watch it to make sure it doesn't over dry. This morning we're going to dehydrate the sauce that we made last night. So this is our Nesco American Harvest dehydrator. We've had this for about 6 or 7, no, maybe more, maybe 10 years now. It works as well as the day we bought it. They come pretty much like you see it, with 4 trays and a couple of other items which I'll describe soon. They retail now for about $100, which May seem like a lot, but you make up for it in about a week of camping if you dehydrate all your food. So at the base of it, there's a motor that runs a small fan and a heating element. It has a knob here that allows you to change the temperature from about 95 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason why this is important, and I recommend getting a dehydrator that has this, is that it allows you to dehydrate your herbs, if you want to dry herbs, at a different temperature than you dehydrate your fruits and vegetables, and at the highest temperature is where you'd be dehydrating your meats, all the way up at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're doing a meat sauce, so I want to dehydrate at a high temperature because you want it to dry as quickly as possible so that the meat doesn't have any time to start to go off. Alright, so it also comes with 4 trays, and the trays basically looks like this, which is not good for dehydrating a whole lot. You can dehydrate your like beef jerky on this, strips of jerky, or anything that has a large size. But as soon as the sizes become smaller, they're just going to slip through these holes. And in fact, even the size it is when it's fresh, it shrinks down an awful lot. So you can't put even a piece of carrot on this, because by the time it shrivels up and it's dehydrated, they'll all start falling through the holes. It also comes with a screen like this, which is good for dehydrating your peas and carrots and anything that's small and would fall through the holes in this tray. You may want to purchase more of these if you're going to be dehydrating a lot of that sort of thing, but usually I only find that I'm doing 1 tray of that kind of thing, and so 1 is fine for me. What I did need to buy more of were these sheet trays, and these are good for dehydrating all of your sauces, your fruit leathers, anything that starts off as a liquid and you're trying to turn solid. You absolutely must have these, and I bought a whole other package of them, a whole other package of 4, so that I could do up to 5 full trays at once. Now, the dehydrator only comes with 4 trays, so I also purchased an extra 2 trays so that I could dehydrate more. I believe you can use up to 8 trays in one of these, which is plenty for any small family. And then all you do, is very easy, is you just spread the sauce onto the tray. So there, that's 1 tray done. You don't want to put it too thick because it needs to dry, and you want it to dry reasonably fast. So spread it out a little bit if you can, and then just pop it on top of the dehydrator, cover it up, and start running the heat through it. Then we'll fill up the rest of the trays. So that sauce made enough to fill 3 trays. Since I have 6 trays, I could probably have dehydrated something else at the same time, but I don't have anything prepared. One thing to consider is that the smells of the foods that you dehydrate at the same time will commingle. So you don't want to cook things that should not have similar taste. For example, don't dehydrate a fruit leather at the same time as you're dehydrating a meat sauce, or your fruit leather will taste terrible. But you could easily dehydrate a spaghetti sauce at the same time as you dehydrated another tomato-based saucy food like a chili, for example. And that's really it. It's ready to go. It'll dehydrate now for probably about 8 hours, and we'll come back and tell you exactly how long it took, and show you what it looks like when it's done. So it's been about 7.5 hours since I started dehydrating. I've been checking it every 2 or 3 hours, but usually you don't really need to for the first 6 hours. You can just let it go. Right now it's well more than halfway done, but if I touch it, I can still feel that it's pretty spongy, and even in some places clearly moist. So it's not at all ready. It should be completely dry feeling and crumbly when it's ready. So what I want to do right now is, because it's mostly dried on top, it's not really drying that quickly anymore. So I'm going to try to flip the whole sheet over. I'm just going to pry it up. As you can see, it comes up fairly easily at this point. So it's still very wet in places. I don't even want to touch it. This is still clearly just sauce. So it's got a few more hours left to go. turning it all over. And I'm just going to do this for all 3 sheets, and then I'm going to put it back in the dehydrator, and I'll show it to you again when it's done. One of the things that I haven't mentioned is while you're dehydrating, when you come back to take a look at them every hour or every 2 hours, move the trays around. Just do this. Put the top one on the bottom, and then the next time you come and take a look, do the same thing again. That way, if there's any difference in the distribution of heat from top to bottom because of where the heat source is located, it'll even out in the end. All right. This is finished. So, at this point, it should be dry, crumbly. You should feel no moisture when you break it up. If you feel any wetness, you want to put it back in, but I'm not feeling any. So it's done. It's 11 o'clock at night now, so it's taken exactly 12 hours to be completely finished. At this point, I'm going to package it. Now, I like to package it in individual serving sizes, and in our case, that's a serving size for myself and my husband. Based on the amount of meat and sauce I put in this, I think there's about 6 servings for both of us in here, and so I'm going to put it in 6 separate bags. So I always pack these individually. This is just enough sauce for myself and my husband for one dinner. If I'm going to be out there for many, many days and we're going to want spaghetti and pasta more than one day of our trip, then I'll pack this twice in 2 separate bags. I don't go fussing around trying to figure out portion sizes while I'm in the bush. So this is it. We've got an entire pot of spaghetti sauce here, enough for 6 servings for 2 people, so that's 12 individual servings, and it probably weighs about ½ pound right now. There's full 2 pounds of meat in here, and 2 jars of spaghetti sauce, and a huge onion, and it's got almost no weight at all. That's it. Hi. So we're on a camping trip right now. We decided to come out for the last week of winter. There's still a foot of snow on the ground here. And we found a nice piece of crown land, and we're here for a couple of nights. Temperature's really nice. So anyways, here's the pasta dish that we started. I've got a cup and a half of macaroni pasta in here, along with the sauce that we dehydrated in this little baggie, and a small amount of Parmesan cheese. And all of this is a meal for 2 people for one night. Very light and doesn't take up a lot of space. So all you have to do is take the sauce and put it in a jar with a little bit of water. And you can set it aside to rehydrate for half an hour, a little more. It doesn't matter. The longer it rehydrates, the softer it'll be when you start cooking. You can skip this step with something like spaghetti sauce and just put the dried, dehydrated sauce directly in boiling water and stir it until it becomes soft. But this will cut the cooking time, because if you go directly from dried, dehydrated into boiling water, it will take longer to cook than if you soaked it in water first, and you'll end up using more fuel. Alright, so I've put the pasta in the water, and I'm going to get it boiling, and then once the pasta is boiling, I'm going to add the sauce, and I'm going to keep cooking it until the pasta's cooked and the sauce is of a consistency you like, not too runny. Alright, it's ready. We've boiled off the excess water, and we now have a nice thick pasta and meat sauce ready to be put into bowls and throw some Parmesan cheese on it, and it'll be delicious.
This is great. Thanks, honey.